cook Greek all the time. Every meal is a Greek meal or a Greek version, a spin on it. We enjoy it. My home is always open, and we have so many guests that come and share the love of food with us and their love with us too. So it's quite fun. During COVID, it got a little hard, but we still resumed. And we had meals together, and I would share what I was cooking that day or, that evening or that weekend or whatever. So it was quite fun. But yes, so my book will be coming out hopefully soon, and it will have many variations of all the different meals that we do make to accommodate most of the dietary needs for people. My one daughter cannot have nuts. She has a severe nut allergy and she's gluten-free. My daughter-in-law is vegan, and so we made everything vegan, including the pasticcios and the moussakas and all the foods that have meats in it. So it's a good combination that will be presented in the book, and there will be a video with each meal also to be shared. So it should be a lot of fun, and I hope everyone can truly put together a meal and enjoy what they've created. So my family, my father's side of the family is from Ithaca, which is an island in the Ionian Sea, and that's the island of Ulysses. If anyone knows the Iliad and Homer, that's where that whole story comes from. In fact, the mountainsides form the profile of Ulysses, which is quite cool. My mother's side of the family comes from Rhodes, which is in the Aegean Sea. So here our foods are a mix of Aegean Sea and Ionian Sea coming together. And it's a beautiful marriage. I've taken the best parts of both and sort of combined everything into one. So again, welcome. And today we are going to talk about dormades, which have many different names actually. So they're called dormades, is the original name of it. And the Greeks started this recipe many years ago, even though our Turkish friends like to claim it too, which is great because it is Turkish, Armenian, Lebanese. It's gone into the Middle East after a course of time. And everyone has a different spin on it, and mostly the herbs. The herbs are what change it up a little bit. And the original dolma had meat. So today I'm going to make the traditional dolma, and we'll put meat in it. We're going to use lamb and beef. And then we have our leaves that I'll show you how to take care of, and the herbs that can be used. And you can alternate herbs based on your taste. Say you don't like parsley, don't put parsley in. You can put oregano, dill, other herbs that you prefer. So it's flexible, and don't be afraid of it. It's something that just comes together, and the flavors are amazing with the grape leaves. Grape leaves are very nutritious. They have a lot of potassium, about 40 milligrams of potassium. They have calcium. They have B complexes. They just have a plethora of wonderful vitamins in there for you. So it's a nutritional meal. With the meat and the rice and the grape leaves, you've accomplished a meal. So this originally was not served as an appetizer. It became an appetizer over the course of time. So we used to have this, and you can still serve it as a meal. And it covers all your food groups. So today we're making the dolma with ground beef, and I use 80% fat, not too lean. You need a little bit of that moisture going on in there. So, and then I use lamb shoulder, which is, if you can see that, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. And Connie, how do you find lamb shoulder, or where do you find that? I don't often see that in groceries near me.
So the supermarket I get it from Publix down here. The supermarket has it, and you can always ask the butcher for it too. And try to get the blade as opposed to the big round bone in it, because you need this to lie flat. It's going to go at the bottom of the pan before we layer some grape leaves on it, and then actually make the formed grape leaf on top of that. And all the flavor for the lamb will come into your grape leaf. So I will show you that in a minute. Now, let's talk grape leaves for 1 second. When you get the grape leaves, they come in jars. So we don't get fresh here. We can get fresh in Greece, and then you actually boil them and blanch them. They come in jars. These are 2 that I have found on the shelves, because unfortunately the shelves are a little empty and lacking a tad, but my favorite is the Krinos one. They have already taken off the stems, which if they're not taken off, then you must remove, because the stem is hard. I will show you that. And the Orlando one, they have the stems on. So I got that so you could see what I'm talking about. Now, when you take these out of the jar, you drain them. You don't want all that juice. So this has a stem, if you could see that. That needs to be cut off, and you just take scissors and you'll just clip that tip so that there is no stem on that, because you don't want to be eating the stem. So that's
Connie, we have a question. I think Chris has raised her hand. Chris, go ahead.
Yes, what aisle in the grocery store do you find those? Is that where the olives are and the condiments?
Well, it depends. Ours down here have it in the international aisle.
Okay.
So if you have an international aisle, you'll find that, but you can always go to your front desk there and ask them where they carry them. It depends on the supermarket.
Okay.
Going to a store, I don't know where you will live, but if you have a specialty Greek store close by or an Arabic store, they will carry them too.
Okay, thank you.
Easily, and you can order them online. If you go online, you can order Krinos very easily, and they'll be shipped right to you. So they do make they make a very good one.
And do they come from Greece?
They do.
So there could be an issue with getting them at some point. And I love that we had that conversation before. We were talking about how we make do when there are not the ingredients that we need. And so Arnita has asked another question that I think is really relevant to that. She said, do you think you can use another type of greens like a collard green?
I wouldn't use collard green because it can get bitter, but I would use cabbage.
Okay, great. And what did you say?
And that becomes like a stuffed cabbage per se, but you could do it in cabbage. You have to be careful. You don't want it to get bitter. Some of those items can become bitter and they're not doable and workable to fold the way we need to fold it, which I will show you in a minute.
Okay, and I know you have a lot to say. There's a lot going on there.
When you boil it, then it needs to be tender. You don't want it to get tough either. So you don't want to overcook and you don't want to undercook. So that's the trick to using any other green. I mean, you certainly could try it,